Hello, Ava. I am looking at your paper, The Sports Industry. I'm going to read through it out loud and give you some feedback. Okay, the sports industry. Since the dawn of time, sports have been a major part of everyone's lives. It has been the one thing in the past millions of years that has always brought people together. Okay, so for some reason, I started not editing, but I started responding to yours with comments on your Google Doc, and then I was like, what am I doing? I'm doing videos. So I put a little note about the millions of years, but anyway. Okay, sports are an important part of the world today, which is why it is important to take a deeper look at what makes it so special to so many people. How can something so simple bring so many of us cheering, gathering, and chanting all as a whole? How can something so simple make so many people cheer, gather, and chant? That would make sense to me. I'm sure you can fix that. In our topic today, I want to take a deeper look at all of this and understand the importance of it all. Now that I'm over the moon excited about this field, I want to know, what more does it have to offer to get me and this world a better understanding of the sports industry? Let's see. You're excited. Yay! That's always puts me in a good mood to read the papers of people excited about their field. I want to know, what more does it have to offer? You have that piece. And then you have, to get me and this world a better understanding. But I think you just mean you need a better understanding, not the world needs a better understanding. So I don't know. You can untangle that. Introductions are so hard. Okay, for many years, and I'll just say, I always write my introduction last. I say always, and actually I wrote an essay today where I didn't write it last, but almost always, 99% of the time, I try to write some kind of introduction, and then I have to go back and just cut out the whole thing and redo it, mostly because I'm not sure what I'm going to say until I've said it, and then I have to go back and be like, okay, how can I bring my reader into what I'm going to say here? Okay, for many years I was wondering how sports have gotten this big, where everyone in the world can unite to watch one single sport. As I grew older and my interest in sports grew, I started to realize why this was happening. This industry is so much more than just sports. It has a greater meaning that has been pushing aside or not talking about unity and companionship. Okay. I feel like we have a few extra words in there. As I grew older and my interest in sports grew, I started to realize why this was happening. This industry is so much more than just sports. I don't think that's what you mean. It has a greater meaning. I think what you're saying is sports have a greater meaning that some people have been pushing aside and not talking about. Because there have been people who have talked about how unity and companionship happen in sports, I think. But you can always do, some people haven't considered this, because how many is some? That's why it's a good writer trick. Okay, ever since we were kids, parents who had children who were not making very many friends or felt left out, they would put them on a sports team. Here's a place to throw in your sum also, right? Because not all parents do that for sure. Some do. Then their kids would make friends and feel unified, like they were part of something bigger than themselves. Again, you need the sum, because some kids didn't make friends and they didn't feel unified. Like me. I had friends. But I definitely didn't get good feelings from being on a sports team at all. That's what sports are. It unites everyone no matter what color, race, or ethnicity you are. We all come together for one common goal. Yes. This is why sports have gotten so big to what it is today, because everyone wants a place where they belong or even come together to watch. So it seems like two separate ideas you're talking about there. You're talking about everyone wants a place where they belong, and then the separate thing about watching, which sometimes happens in person and sometimes happens on TV or on the radio even, right? So I feel like you're talking about two things there, and they're kind of, you could separate them and it'd be more clear. Okay, in one of the articles I read, and oh my god, you did so much reading. I'm impressed. I read about the Chiefs game on Thursday night. Oh, goodness. Yeah. It stated unity is all that matters. What stated unity is all that matters? As the players stood with their arms locked together, this is why sports are so big today. I'm confused here. It stated unity is all that matters. article did. Wasn't it the players who were trying to say that? As a player, this is why sports are so big today. And I feel like that's not why sports are so big. Like, in fact, that's been a problem in sports, hasn't it? That I'm not your sports expert, as you know now, but because people have been doing stuff that doesn't directly have to do with the sport being played right there, and some people are annoyed. I don't say annoyed. That makes sense. Some people don't think that should happen. I guess. Especially what is happening in our world right now, it is important to feel united. Oh, God, isn't it, though? Everyone in this world has some association with sports, whether they played when they were younger, played one pickup game, or even touched the ball once. I like this much stronger. Because even very unathletic me is like, oh, yeah, we played Foursquare. I played badminton. Sports have played a role in everyone's lives, even if it was small. Which leads to the question of how do sports affect character development? Does it make you a better person? I don't think it leads to that question. Sports played a role for everyone. Does character development make you a better person? I think it leads to the question, does even a little bit of participation in sports affect character development? Because that question is trying to get at, like, should we try to get more people involved, I think, right? Okay, sports have so many benefits to a human's character mentally and physically. Studies have shown that a child who doesn't play any sports are more likely to keep to themselves. Wait, a child who doesn't play any sports. So you're using the singular child, so you want to say, this is so tricky when you're child and the verb are so far apart. Child is more likely to keep to themselves, less likely to become a well-known figure, or more likely to be depressed. Do you have... That definitely may be true, but I don't see any evidence of that. You need a quote from somebody. You definitely need some kind of backup information for that. I mean, studies have shown, yeah, we need an exact study. Okay. Sports promote character growth to be the best person they can be. Sports promote character growth so that athletes become the best people they can be. The way it's now, it sounds like sports promote growth to be a person. And I know that's not what you mean. Sports assists with higher self-esteem, which is even more important in the world today because so many people struggle with how they feel about themselves. Their social skills and leadership abilities skyrocket because of the confidence they develop on the field and the interaction they get with other people. There are so many studies that show sports promote great character development and show that they do make you a better person. Again, evidence. We have to have evidence. Sports is something everyone needs to be involved in because it makes us better people. And you did so much reading. So, like, if you didn't get the studies and you didn't get the direct answers about these things, then don't write about it. Write about what you did get out of there. Okay, with the changing world... Oh, and I should say, like, I know you're kind of moving into the next paper now. So, like, some of the stuff about controversy, like, I know some of your readings don't have to do with this paper, which might be messing me up a little bit. It's possible. With the changing world, this causes the sports world needs... With the changing world, this causes the sports world needs to adapt, especially in a world like this. Maybe you mean with a changing world, sports need to adapt? But I mean, the world is always changing. I don't know. You'll fix it. Coronavirus has impacted many people around the world in the sports industry. How is COVID-19 affecting the sports world? This has probably been one of the most asked questions in the world of sports. Since the beginning of the pandemic, nothing has been for sure, whether football was going to happen or baseball or even soccer. God, I know, it's been crazy. Everything has just been floating around because no one knows what is going to happen. Each sport is doing its best to adapt to these difficult times. Baseball still happened, but a few months later, and that eventually came to have no fans in the stadium. What? You'll figure that out too. Okay, football just started a few days ago with limited fan capacity. At KU, we still have no idea whether or not we will be able to go watch the games. I know, it is so weird. Not only is COVID-19 affecting the fan base, but the industry is losing a lot of money because with no fans or limited capacity, I think you mean in this limited capacity in the stadiums, maybe? Okay, the money they were once made on tickets is gone. The money they once made on tickets is gone. Just gave a few extra words there. For the sports that are continuing, even more money is being spent on safety, such as sanitizers, signs for social distancing, and disinfectant. With everything being so in the air, who knows when the industry will be able to... I know this bird wants to talk about your paper too. Okay. With everything being so in the air, who knows when the industry will be able to go back to the same, how far they will be continuing to lose money before they go into debt. Okay. So that paragraph is all about COVID stuff. I would stop and say, like, that's a nice example of really keeping everything with the same subject to the same paragraph, and then new paragraph starting in a new place, which is something I work with a lot of people on in 102, is like making sure their paragraphs are just about one thing, and you've already done that, so yay. From reading more information and understanding the sports industry as a whole, I believe I got a better understanding and reasoning on exactly what it is. But what did you learn? A lot of my questions were answered and showed me the amazing world of what sports are. I learned the sports world is facing hardships when it comes to the coronavirus, and the wonder of it they will be able to pull through after this pandemic, but it was done before and we can do it again. We learned to take a deeper look at how this industry has grown so much in the past years because it brings so many people together, even with all the issues we have. With a little more reading, I learned that sports are important for people's character growth and why it's so important to involve kids in any sport. Everything that I was unsure about before has been answered. Everything. Come on, no. And I want to continue to know even more about the world of sports and see behind the scenes of it all. Yes. Overall, I couldn't be happier to join such a wonderful industry that helps, unites, grow, and build up each and everyone in the world. Well, not everyone. Okay. So here's your biggest issue, though, to step back. You haven't quoted anything from, I'll just look at this first article, Why the Sports Industry is Booming. The whole purpose, not the whole purpose, but the main purpose of having you do the annotated bibliography and read different pieces was so that you can answer the questions you had. So if you had questions about why it's booming in 2020, what answers did that article give you? I didn't see that. And also when you talked about how COVID-19 is affecting sports, you need to quote that article for sure, because I feel like the things so far you said are like things that, I mean, I know that kind of everybody knows, gets into some kind of common knowledge stuff, and I want to know, like, what's in that article. Oh, and there's sports and character development. See, you do know some of the studies, so you need to quote them. And then the financial blow of the coronavirus on sports. Yes, also a great source. Okay. So yeah, that's the main thing that you need to do in your next draft is go through and include quotes, direct quotes, straight from these pieces you read, but also some of the ideas from these authors, which will solve the problem that when I read this paper, like, I should learn quite a bit, especially yours, because I don't know that much about sports. And at this point, I feel like most of what you said have just been things like, they're so general that, like, I haven't gotten in deep there with you and seen what you've actually learned, because I feel like a lot of what's in this paper you knew when you walked in, which is great. But yeah, let's get into those details. Where's the window where I record the thing? Oh, there it is.